Hey there.
What's
There
up,
we go.
dude?
Hey, man.
How you doing, homie?
Good. Yeah, this is, I don't know. Can you hear me through well or
I can hear
not at
you.
all?
Yeah, I can hear you well.
Okay.
I got the
All right.
screen record going.
Okay.
Now I just got to blow your box up somehow again. Um, co-host maybe. Dang. Layout. Grid. Did that do it? No, that did not
I'm
do it.
still a
Okay.
small boxy.
Co-host. Layout. Fixed panel. Let's try that. Done. 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 Ha! That did not help either. Helly Beth, what's going on? Is that Helly Beth?
Yeah.
Alright. Layout. Panel. Did that do it?
I'm still in a small box.
Okay, how about that?
There we go.
That does it?
There we go.
Alright.
Yeah.
Alright.
Yeah. Favored it doesn't like my microphone. So, yeah, I don't know why it won't hook my microphone up.
Not cool, favorited.
Yeah, no doubt. So I have to have it close. Just so you can hear me.
What's up, MC Haley Dot? Yes, I'm doing fine. You don't have to worry. She sent me a message right before we came on. Uh, Good to see you, Haley. I am doing okay. I'm tired, but I'm
I
good.
bet.
Long day. Long day. I haven't been to sleep yet, so.
Oh, crap.
Yeah. 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 Well, so Ashman, what you
Yeah.
thinking, dude?
Well, we were talking about false starts.
All right.
So I know I got some.
Hit me. Yes, you do,
Well,
Haley. Yes, you do, Haley.
I think early in my art career, I was I was in gallery shows. I was doing all that stuff, thinking over my head kind of crap and really trying to create important work. And I was in a lot of magazines. I was in a lot of television interviews, that sort of thing. And I wasn't happy. And I think that's where you go, okay, am I doing everything right? And I don't think I was. And then the recession hit and my artwork didn't sell as fast as it used to. And I had time to regroup and rethink and really start working on stuff I really wanted to work on, like silly shit,
Yeah.
getting back to what makes me happy. And
Basics.
yeah, getting back to the basics and who I really am at the core. And so everything I do now, I'm doing for myself and for the fact that people enjoy it. Like the cat drawing I did last night. People liked it,
Yeah,
you know,
dude.
and I like the fact that people are getting a kick out of it. I feel like I'm actually giving something now than creating a 6 foot by 4 foot portrait of some importance, air quotes around it. And, I love the fact that I did it. I love the fact that it's out there. I love the fact that I had that moment in time. But now I'm really happy about what I'm doing now. And it may sound smaller, but to me, it's bigger. So
Yeah,
that was my fault.
I get where you're coming from. The smaller is bigger thing because when you're in your real self, it grows better anyway. Like the
Yeah.
opportunities that come along are more fruitful, you might say, in my experience.
Yeah. Absolutely. I think so.
How do you like my dead making art shirt?
I like that a lot.
It's Ivan. She calls him.
I
She named him Ivan.
don't have anything that cool, but I have Mother, Should I Trust the Government on.
No. That's little Pink Floyd for you. Mother, should I trust the government?
Government.
No.
Hell yeah. Shortcut.
But
No.
but remember, it's still yours. You don't throw it completely under the bus and give it to other
No.
countries. You try to
Uh,
improve it.
yeah. Yeah. I hope people have learned their lesson, but I doubt it.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
Yeah.
Well, I've had my share of false starts. I would say that one of them had to do well. One of them had to do with COVID too. Since you brought up COVID, I mentioned this before. The friend of mine named Rick Atwood that has the antique store, and I built behind his house, behind the antique store. The antique store is an old house, and behind
Yeah.
it was a stone building that used to be a little garage that a Model A Ford was parked in back in the day. It was small. That's what it was built for. Chad, Chad Revart. It was small, and that's what it was built for. Um, and what we did was we took the old roof off of it, flipped it upside down so the tin roof was showing down. What's up, Chad? Hey, brother. And then
Hey,
built the
buddy.
floor, and then built the barn on top of it out of materials that we reclaimed from a house that we tore down and another barn that we tore down. And that was going to
Yeah.
be where we did like lessons on how to sharpen planes and shaving tools and how to use a router and how to use all of those kind of things. And then COVID hit. So none of that was going to happen. Um,
Yeah.
and then I ended up on TikTok. So I didn't
Oops.
do any more stuff up there. I ended up hanging out with this fucking asshole, and
You screwed up. Let me point that out. Let me point that out. That was a wrong turn right there.
But and another example would be when I started the woodworking journey, I knew automatically because I was working with barnwood that I was going to want to include some metal elements. So I got an old hand crank. I went picking and I found an old hand crank forge. I found some blacksmithing tools. I've got a bottle and some bottles and torches out there. I have all the stuff you'd need to kind of get started blacksmithing. But then I realized, look, there's a lot to do in this. And if I'm trying to learn the woodworking side and the blacksmithing side, there's not going to be a whole lot of time for actually building stuff side. So I went out and found blacksmiths to collaborate with, one of which I was already friends with. And that's the guy that ended up showing me how to mill my own lumber, which went on to what led to building guitars.
Nice.
So even the false starts still steered me in a
That was a
better.
right turn.
Yeah.
That was
Instead,
a right turn.
even though I did end up hanging out with Chad Rev Art, it still turned out to be an okay
Wrong turn.
thing.
That's why it's centered out. Right turn, wrong turn. We made it there.
How are you
Maybe
doing,
even.
Silly Britches? Would you like to talk about false
Oh,
starts?
false starts?
That's what our topic is. Like, yeah, they can be good, they can be bad. But we were talking the other day about inspiration, and I started the conversation by saying, well, actually, let's do a negative of that, and let's talk about where people get the wrong type of inspiration from, and get behind the wrong kind of cause, you might say. And then that led to what we're
Word.
talking about today, sort of. We never actually got to Ash's topic, but we'll get back around to it.
Word. Yeah, I'm only here for a minute. I'm about to eat dinner, but I was like, hey, the lounge is on. I got to go say hi to my people and give some love out.
So false
And
start would be coming on the
yeah,
lounge right before supper.
that's right. That's right.
Are you going to be able to eat after watching this?
is it
I don't know.
is it
Just a,
churning a little now? Is it churning a little?
just just a little. Just a
Like I
little.
lost my appetite.
Oh my god. Yeah. False starts. I had a band that sucked really bad one time in between two really, really good bands that did humongous things. And that was a false start. We tried really hard, and I was riding the wave off of a really giant band that I had been in. And I brought some people in, and we got a band together, and we went out and played to find out that we sucked really bad. Um, However, I did meet during that time. I met a couple of the folks that ended up being in my next project that I toured with for many, many years. So, false start led to a very nice second half.
Was
There you go,
Monkey
man.
was Monkey part of the shitty band? He was.
Yes, he was.
Right
Yeah,
on. Right
we
on.
actually shipped him in from a different state because we needed a drummer. Our drummer was dumb, and we had a show. We had booked our first show, and it was coming up, and we had to get rid of our drummer. So we shipped Monkey in from a different state, and this was a really, really heavy, heavy band. Okay, and they got him here, and I went to the first practice with him to find out that he did not. Not only did he not have double kick drums, but he didn't even know how to run double kick drums.
Oh shit.
Now
Yeah, in an extremely super heavy band.
this
Yeah,
isn't
yeah.
Monkey you're talking about. This is
The other dude, yeah.
the
Monkey.
original drum. Oh, that was Monkey.
Oh. Oh,
Oh,
really?
Monkey didn't
Yeah,
have a
so
double kick.
one of my guys was like, "Hey, I can fix this problem of no drummer, but I've got to bring this guy in from out of state, and he's going to move back here for this." So he literally moved from one state back here to be in the band. So I knew that he had literally picked up everything and moved. And then I walked in and was like, "Where's your other kick?" He's like, "What do you mean my other kick?"
Wow.
I would give him this. A week later, he was doing, not only did he go and pick up what he needed, but he was doing it
Nice.
a week later
There's a drummer.
That's Monkey.
Yeah.
and continue to do it for years.
Can you take me
Yeah.
to Monkey Town? Can you take me to
Dude, I saw him.
Monkey
I
Town?
saw him 2 nights ago
How
for
is
the
he?
first time in like 2.5 months.
He had a
He's
bunch of
doing a
back
lot
stuff
better,
too.
man.
He's got really bad back
Yeah.
problems, Ash. Monkey does.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. He just got more fusions done. But the crazy thing is for the last 17 years, he hasn't been able to feel his, like a lot of his legs and like half his foot and all sorts of stuff. And he's like always been like real wobbly on his legs. And obviously he had to quit playing drums. Like he had to leave the band. That's what caused our band to is because of that. And after 17 years, this new surgery rearranged some nerves that apparently got pinched or what have you. And he can feel his legs again.
Oh.
And not only can he feel his legs, but by June, he's going back to do a test and they're going to see how much bone has regrown. And he'll be able to go back to twisting, which is what you do a lot when you play drums.
Oh,
And I'm
man.
going over when the snow melts to adjust his double kick pedals, so that he can start trying to play drums again.
Right
Nice.
on.
So by this summer, I might have my drummer back. Like out of all my years of drumming, that's my dude, man. Or out of all my years of playing, that and
Yeah.
out of drummers, that's
Nice, man.
Now if they could just find a fucking singer.
you're gonna have to find somebody, dude, because it ain't me no more. he says, "Do you know how long it'll take me to get in condition to play again?" And I was like, about half as long as it'll take me vocally to recondition back to where I was when we played together, dude.
Y'all might consider singing like old country ballads or something. Some Conway Twitty shit, man.
So, pay attention this summer and you guys will get to see exactly what you're talking about. A false start. I'm going to be all gung ho and be like, watch me go play some deathcore, boys. And then after like a couple of practices, I'll be like, come on.
I can't do that crap anymore. It's just, my voice is wrecked. So it's like,
Dude.
I got what I got left and it ain't good.
Well, the
I
good
still like
news. Go ahead.
singing. I was gonna say I still like singing in the shower, in the car, and while I'm painting and carving. And
Yeah.
but man, y'all have heard I ain't a spring chicken no more. Like I used to really rip it, and now when I sing, I go back and sometimes I'm watching for footage to grab content. I'm like, oh, dude, how the mighty have fallen, God.
Well, I feel like I made up a lot of ground then because I started out terrible. So y'all are kind of coming to me instead of me getting better. All I got to do is just maintain, man, and eventually I'll be on par.
Man, thanks for. Can you show me around? Cause.
Hey, Richard. Yeah, no kidding.
Oh,
No kidding. How
Then
you
he's
doing,
gonna
Richard?
come in.
Thanks for stopping
He's
in,
gonna
man.
come in and go. He stopped loving her today.
Yes.
I
He
love that
stopped
song.
loving her today. See? See?
Hardcore.
See?
Yeah, do that death metal. That'd be awesome.
Conway Twitty death metal. He stopped loving her today.
Practice back up with away.
He stopped loving her. Hey.
But false starts wise though, I mean, I had a career working on planes, and I don't do that anymore. Is that considered a false start? I had an entire ass career working writing training
Nah,
programs, and I walked away from that. So big picture, that
that's
could
not
be
a
a
false
false
start.
start. No,
Not really, because you actually pursued it and did it.
Yeah, there you go.
So I mean, it wasn't
right
like
on.
you got started and went, "Oh, this ain't working," and
No,
Yeah.
then I mean, you actually did that. I mean, that's like, I'm not a touring musician anymore, but that's not a false start because I did it for most of my adult life.
Yeah.
well, that's
So
like 3 days though. I mean, you've only been an adult
yeah,
for like less than a week.
I didn't say I was acting like an adult.
You were just talking about age wise.
I was definitely not acting like an adult.
That's awesome. Yeah,
When in
man.
doubt, ask yourself, what would Nikki Six do?
Oh boy.
Oh man.
Oh boy. Probably snoring a line of ants. Brilliant things like that. So what's on the
Well,
menu? What's on the menu for you tonight? Mrs. Ginn stopped and got sushi.
oh
That's
yeah,
what I'll be
don't say
having
that too
after
loud. My
this.
wife will stop cooking and make me leave to go pick it up.
Hey, Mrs. Rev Art. You know what we're having for supper?
Luckily,
I'm recording this. I'm going to send it to
I'll be like, oh,
her.
okay.
You don't have a
Uh,
single hair on your ass if you don't come home with sushi on a Thursday night. Oh,
I know,
Ashman.
right?
Speaking of time, what the hell's the place? The name I'm going to? It is called
Hell,
Nevada,
you're going to
and
hell.
yeah, and there's a place there that has a lot of casinos in it. I'm going to that place, the bigger place, not the smaller place. And
Oh yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Vegas.
Vegas, yes, and and it's an hour. It's an hour past y'all. It's actually on Pacific time, so that'll make it a
Oh,
little.
okay.
That'll make it even easier for me to sneak in because it'll be 10 o'clock my time instead of 11 o'clock.
Oh, nice.
So we can at least sneak a little bit of time in that way.
That sounds good, man.
Chad, I'm gonna be in Vegas next week, starting the end of next week. You ought to come out and hang out, man.
Word. I'll go out there. No worries. I'll just fly on out to Vegas.
Might as
I used
well.
to go out there a lot. I used to go out there every year.
Yeah,
My
yeah.
job
You
required it. Terrible.
I'd
you
like.
and Nikki Six? Or...
I wish, dude. I did live by that. What would Nikki Six do? Me and my guitarist did for a very long time.
Nice.
Yeah, well,
You're still here.
I'm
That's the
still
treasure.
here. So yeah, yeah.
But did you get them to restart your heart a couple times? You haven't Nikki Sixed it until you like
Yeah,
came back from the dead. Oh yeah, that's right. You did that twice too.
I did that. I did that. Just boys and girls never read the dirt when you're preparing to go on tour, and then do not pass it to your guitar player. Don't do it. It's a good book. You should read it, but don't read it if you're about to go on tour. It will definitely affect how you handle yourself.
Heck yeah. So, um, what other kind of false start information you got, Ash?
Oh man, most of my childhood, it started when I was a baby.
He's like, and
I,
just last night I was pushing ropes, so that
it,
was a false start.
it only got worse. It only got
only
worse.
got worse. But man,
Oh my
I'd
lord!
say taking a psychology courses, thinking I was going to be a psychologist, only to realize how messed up I am, and go, I'm not going to help anybody. I'm good.
No, that makes for a perfect psychologist.
Well, here's a false start for you. This is a true story. I was in the College of Education at LSU in a master's program for special education, and my stepfather, again, his sister was a speech pathologist. And she was like, "Man, you do not want to work in. I'm telling you, you don't want to work in the school system. Like, take some business courses or something, and just check and see." So I took a semester of business courses at LSU, and I failed all of them because I dropped them. I hated them so
Yep.
much. I was on the GI Bill and student loans, so I couldn't drop below 9 hours. I had to just take them. So I took 3 Fs when I took those courses, and I was on the dean's list. I was a honor student, and that kept me from graduating with honors by like a thousandth of a point. But I walked,
Wow.
but I walked away from them anyway. I took Fs in those courses. I absolutely hated them. I'm sitting in there and they're talking about derivatives and factors and shit, and my eyes just glazed over.
I
And
was going to say I would have
the
glazed over.
professor literally, man, about a third into the class, the professor asked me a question. I was like, you know what? I'm not trying to be rude, but I know that I don't care. I just don't care,
No.
and I never went back. He never saw me again. I meant it.
Well, I'm serious.
At the
So yeah, I'm
time,
going to be a fine
Well, I
example
mean,
right this moment of false starts, and I'm not going to finish the lounge because I'm going to go eat some food.
get,
all right.
get. Yeah, this is a
Hey
show that
guys,
your ass started, by the way.
I know, and I'm going to be back to it very. Listen,
I'm turning
listen.
the
I want to
keys
say a
I
few
over.
hope you're
things.
back because this
I want to.
guy.
I just want to let, and I haven't even been able to talk to Gin yet, but I want to let everybody know. Not this coming week, but hopefully the following week, I will be back for the Gin project and for the lounge.
Right
I am
on.
going to have dental work done Monday, so Tuesday I am not going to feel like
They're gonna do it.
Yeah,
anything.
yeah,
They're gonna do it.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I'm
They
going to
gonna pull
start
it.
fixing all this chemo. Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
told you,
For those
man.
of you who don't know, chemo ruined my shit, so I got to get it all fixed now. So
It's Toofuses.
here we start. Here we start the Tufus Fixer Upicus, and it's going to be excellent. Man, I had a nice grill before all this chemo, and it is not anymore.
Mine's crooked as shit, but they're in my head at least.
Right. So yeah, I'm gonna try to be back week after this coming one.
Right
So
on.
Yeah.
Are you gonna be any prettier?
no,
The
don't
new
count on
the
that
new skin
whatsoever.
suit doesn't have any upgrades at all.
Dude, I'm still wearing. They're making me turn the skin suit inside out every other week right
Oh,
now.
that's
They're not
what's
even gonna
going
check me in
on.
out either.
That's what's the deal. Dang, I thought there
One
was
second
something
now.
up.
Yeah, dude, it's
Well,
like underwear and condoms. You just turn them, flip them, they're good to go again.
that is good news, man, because we miss you, dude. It's more fun when you're around.
Oh, hell yeah.
I mean, I don't want to say too much
Man,
because you'll get a big old fucking head and all that, but like, see, it
mm,
swelled up right there already.
I didn't even move closer to the camera. That was just my head swelling up. Oh my lord.
Totally, his head swelling up, and he's only like 2.5 feet
Oh,
tall, y'all. So,
at best, on stilts. It's Carolina. All right, guys, listen, be good or good at it.
Hey, I know it's snowing at your house, so go ride that kitchen spoon for your sled.
Dude, it has
He
been.
sits in a spoon and holds onto the handle and uses it as a sled, y'all.
I've got a thimble I scoot down the hill with. That better add me one step, one drift on one step. Mikey did come over with his John Deere and clear my entire long ass driveway today, so that was awesome.
Right on. Right
Um,
on.
yeah. All right, I'm out.
Enjoy yourself,
All right,
brother.
later, man.
Later, man.
Later, fellas.
Much love, bro.
That was nice, man.
Guest removed. Uh-oh. Guest got removed. How you doing, Diamond Art by Carolina? Hope you're all right. Good to see you.
How's it going, man?
Dude, we had a Chad Rev Art signing.
Yeah,
He's coming back in a week or two.
that's 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 fucking cool.
That's the best news I've had in about a month and a half.
I know you don't have to just put up with me anymore.
So, Ash, man, we're going to have to talk, man. No, I'm kidding. Chad's back, man. You got to go.
I already got my bags packed.
I'm leaving on a jet plane.
Oh man.
Man,
Fall starts. Writing books. I
oh,
have 2 books out there. There's the false start. Thinking I was going to be an author,
well,
but I might get back to that
just
though.
about to say it's not too late to finish that. That might be a delayed
I might
start.
get
See,
back.
there's false starts
Yeah,
and there's delayed starts, I would argue.
yeah, I might get back to that. My wife's encouraging me, so she's like, "Oh yeah, you're good." I'm like, "Okay," so I might do that, but I don't know. I don't know. There's so many things in life where you kind of start out with the best intentions too, and it just kind of falls away. And I don't know. There's too many to really think about. My band, my music career, I did it for a while, and it went nosedived. And I just kind of was like, I got to do art. I'm better at it. So that's another one, man. I don't even want to talk about relationships that way.
That
There's
happens
some
too.
false starts. Oh,
Yeah, yeah, and most of those are not. I mean, I've been with my wife most of my life, so they weren't related to
oh
that.
yeah,
They were
yeah,
related to. Well, the person that I started the Gin project with, Philip Page, the guy that called me and asked me to help him take down that barn. We started the business as a partnership, and 9 months later, he had to quit. He was a chef, and
mm,
his wife got pregnant with their second kid. And though they are no longer married, at the time he was like, "Dude, I
oh
gotta."
yeah,
The chef money was guaranteed money, and what we were doing was a pretty big risk. Starting a woodworking
yeah,
business in an area where there's fifth, sixth generation craftsmen. Um,
yeah,
so he just wasn't able to do it. And I had a guy that worked here for about 4 years that was sort of like an apprentice. Like he was learning stuff, and he knew nothing about woodworking, and he was building and he had some talent. But he started showing up just too hungover, and still drunk. And I
oh
am
yeah,
all about having some fun, but you can't be in here doing what we do, doing what I do, if your mind
yeah,
isn't. It's difficult.
yeah,
And here's the thing, man. We've talked about this. We both deal with back pain and that sort of thing. It's hard enough to focus in a shop when something like that's going on. Like anything that distracts your attention, you could lose a finger or a hand,
yeah,
or something.
yeah.
Something could go bad wrong. So it's there's a lot of, like you said, there's micro false starts too, almost.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I've rearranged this shop probably 47 times in 15 years. Because as it grew, or I'd get another piece of equipment, or I'd start working on something different, I would need to create a different space.
Oh,
Um,
I get that. I get that. We when we first moved in here, we gave ourselves the smaller bedroom for the studio. Like we worked together in the same room, and it was just too damn small with all the equipment I have. So we finally were like, oh, the bedroom, just the bathroom would work out for me because I have to wash brushes, do all kinds of stuff. Why don't we just move rooms? So one summer, that's all we did was just move everything, reorganize, paint, do everything in here, and then after we got it completely done, that's when the plumbing went out and they had to rip this wall out.
Oh man. Oh, that was right after you got it all finished.
After everything was finished.
Ah, that's a
And then they
bummer.
had to rip this wall out, and then I had to redo it. They ripped everything out, man. It was a wreck. So there's a false start. You think you're done, and then it's like, do it over, do it over. Hey, I love you, everyone. 1, 2.
What's up?
How's it going?
How's it going? You found yourself at the Low Orbit Lounge. Chad Revart just left. You got Ashman over here. Ashman from Glendale. And I'm a woodworking guy. I build guitars and stuff like that, restore antiques. We have shows. We have a show where we interview artists and musicians and content creators over on another platform, and then we do lives on a different platform. But over here, we do the Low Orbit Lounge. This is kind of like our after hours kind of spot to just chill for a little bit, hang out with our buddies, and have a little fun.
Just BS. Just BS about whatever comes to our minds.
Yeah,
So yeah,
yeah,
welcome in, man.
absolutely. Well, I did get. It was encouraging today, where they actually did two different sections in the L2 and the L5, and then they were able to get the injections right where they needed them, and it all
Good.
went really well. And so we're hopeful on that deal. And then that nerve conduction stuff was weird, man. Have you ever done one of those?
My wife did.
Kind of,
Yeah.
it was. I mean, there's no big, nothing to it really, but
Yeah.
it was cool, man. They put these electrodes on my hand, and then they had this little thing that looked like one of those things cops use, except they put like little moisture stuff on it, little gel on it, and when they touched you with it, it shocked you. So they put the electrodes on your hand, and then they touch you with it, and it would activate, whatever muscle. And
Yeah.
then they went back and they put the electrodes in different places. Then they took needle and they would stick a needle in the particular muscle. And then they'd make you push against like your thumb, or if they stuck the needle in your bicep, they made you pull against, to activate the needle. But the cool thing was, it was audible. You could hear it. When your muscle activated, it would, it was like static in the speaker. And that's how the guy would know that there was some signal coming from that muscle.
Oh,
And
nice.
then they're just trying to read how diminished it was. But all of them had at least something,
That's good.
which was a
That's good.
plus.
Yeah.
Um, Now they didn't do my leg. When you hit my left leg with a hammer, it doesn't move. Like when they do the
Mm.
knee reflex
The
thing.
reflexes. Yeah.
Reflex. Remember that song? I got none. I got ain't none. Ain't none. Ain't none. Ain't none. Ain't none. Ain't no reflex. Just you hit it with whatever. It don't do shit. It just hangs there.
That's like my right thigh. I can't feel anything on my right thigh. Like the
You, you,
nerve is just
you can Ricky Bobby it. Just stick a knife in your leg.
pretty
Freak
much.
people out.
Pretty much.
I am on fire. I am on fire. You're not on fire, Ricky Bobby. You're not on fire. I am on fire.
Oh man.
Well,
But yeah, it's a weird feeling to have spots in your body that are just don't feel anything. It's just
yeah,
strange. It's just
yeah.
like somebody else's body for a second.
The the ankle that they fused, there's been so many surgeries on it. There are areas of it that I don't have any feeling, and then there are areas of it that have diminished feeling. So it's weird. Like even putting a sock on, there's areas I can't feel it. There's other areas it feels like weird, like something's tickling me or ants running across it or something.
Yeah.
And then there's other areas that feel normal. You got to kind of adjust. You got to get used to all the
Yeah.
weird sensations. And then the leg thing, man, the left leg, the one from the spinal problem. Some days it'll burn like it's got lava in it. And then other days it feels electric, like it's being electrocuted. And then other days it just feels numb and kind of dead and unresponsive. And then other days it's just like a sharp, stabbing, twisting, awful pain, you know.
Yeah. If anybody out there has not had a nerve regrow,
It's
that
weird.
is not pleasant at times, and it is fucking weird because I ruined my thumb nerve in my right hand by repetitive use. So, and I had a piece of metal basically right there constantly. So it killed that nerve. And I couldn't feel my thumb for a long time. And I was like, oh shit, I fucked up my thumb. And then one night I was asleep and I just started getting like electrical shocks through my thumb.
And it's
What
coming
the
alive.
what the fuck was that?
Frankenstein's thumb has just arisen.
I'm glad. I'm glad because that man it was growing back, but oh man, just out of nowhere, once in a
Yeah.
while it just hits. And it was fucking weird. So yeah, nerve regrowth is strange.
And we both work with our hands. They're our living. They're how we make a living. Um,
Oh yeah.
um,
I lost the use of my right hand for 3 months. It drove me crazy.
I bet.
Drove me crazy.
I bet.
Yeah, because you couldn't do anything, and it was,
Diamond?
you know, I kept trying, and then I go, oh, and then I'd go, okay, I can't do it yet, can't do it, and you just, man, it is your life. It is your life. So yeah,
Yeah, I had that conversation with the doc today. The guy that was doing the neural test, and they ask kind of what you do for a living and blah blah blah. And I'm like, I build things. Like he's like, what do you mean? I said, I build guitars and restore antiques and build custom shit. He's like, oh, so you kind of need this hand, don't you? I was like, yeah, I kind of need my shit to work, man. At least minimally or something.
that'd be nice. That'd be
He's
nice.
like, all right, well, we're gonna see what we can figure out here for you, buddy. So,
It's funny how careful you have to be, though. Like you said, you went to something smaller because you had to.
yep,
And every time when I was handling that big ass kitchen table and refinishing it and moving it around, I'm like very carefully moving it because my lower back could just go out.
yeah.
And we talked about this before. I could be very careful and move heavy, heavy, heavy objects, but it's always the small things you do that you just do quickly and it just wrecks you.
For me,
And
it's
that's what
reaching.
happened. Like I did. Yeah, it's low. It's leaning down and reaching, or staying hunched over too long, something like that.
I don't mind washing dishes at all.
Yeah,
My first legal job was a dishwasher at a restaurant.
we
But
have this in common.
but washing dishes, I guess the way the sink sets, and we have a big tall faucet, which is great, that I added later. And but the thing is you have to, all of it takes place out in front of you, reaching out in front of you.
Yep.
And if you notice, like when I'm working on necks or something, I tend to keep stuff really close to me.
Yeah.
And that's why, because the further I go out, the more in danger I am of even just putting my hands out by themselves with nothing in them. If I get too far
Yep.
out, I can start feeling it in my back. Um,
Yeah. Me too. Dishes are part of a problem because I'll be cleaning, and then my dishwasher's right to my right, and I lean down to do it, and I have to be very careful. But sometimes you're just kind of like doing it, and you're not thinking,
yeah,
and
that's when
that's
it
when it
happens.
gets you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've reached down to pet my dog, and it bit me. Not the dog, but my back. You know what I mean? Reach down
Yeah.
to pet
Oh
Henry,
yeah.
and it's just a far enough reach that because you're not thinking about it. You're like, oh, hey, buddy, oh, oh, God, oh, oh. You know what I mean? I'm sorry that you're in
Totally.
pain, Diamond. Carolina, I know what that's like. I've been in pain since
Oh yeah.
97. That's 1997.
Yeah.
Um, so I feel you. I understand.
absolutely.
Sure.
I know what those little movements are the ones that get you. And how grateful are you when you go, oh shit, I think I'm gonna throw out my back, and then it goes the next day you're okay.
Yeah, you're like,
Oh
you're all
man,
cocky.
I
Rah!
I really fucking lucked out.
But we were talking about that, so I got to see both of them today. I got to see the guy that was doing the nerve stuff, but I also saw the dude that does my injections that I've been working with for some years. And he knows kind of what I do for a living, and we've talked a lot about it. He was part of helping me scale down things. Like we literally had conversations about how to set my shop up. Because, for example, for the kind of back issues that I have, walking is the best prescription. And what I do, I like stretch in the shower. A lot of times, that's when I'll send you something like, "Hey, I'm in the shower getting ready for the show." Well,
Yeah.
the reason I'm in the shower is I'm trying to do my stretching routine to get limbered up enough so that I can sit here for an hour or two and not look crippled, as
Oh
far as
yeah.
like my movements and everything. So
I know all about the shower aimed right back there, and you're just leaning a little bit, just making sure you get that heat in there,
it's
and just
stretch,
let
yeah.
it hit for a while. Yeah, yeah, no, I know about that.
And it's a routine. It has to continually, happen. Like sick or not
Yeah,
sick or whatever, I got to get up at some point during the day and take a hot shower and stretch out, or I'm just crunched up.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
it's hell getting
I'm
old.
lucky I'm not as bad.
Well, the good news is, man, is when I originally busted my ankle, shattered my ankle, there was no such thing as an artificial ankle. They had artificial knees, and eventually what they've done is they've modified artificial knees and flipped them upside down and made ankles out of them. So the ankles don't have
Oh wow.
that twisty rotation; they just have up and down. The
Yeah,
artificial ankles, and
the rocking.
I had so much stuff going on in my leg. There was a piece of bone missing that they would normally attach that to. So I wasn't even eligible for the first ones, but they now even have artificial ankles that I would be eligible for if I chose to
Oh wow.
go that route down the road. So what I was getting at there is technology is what can start up a dead end.
We've talked about that. Yeah,
And, and
yeah,
and that applies in a lot of weird ways, like technology and the way that you're able to present your art now on a
yeah,
platform like this.
yeah. And technology killed my first try. I was doing animation. I was doing 2D animation, going to school for that. Hey, Chipster. And I was going to school for 2D animation, just drawing on paper. And suddenly a movie came out called Toy Story,
Ah,
and they didn't want 2D animators anymore. They wanted 3D animators. So my job was already a dinosaur before I left.
right.
So, and now technology's given me a new option where I'm doing, like you said, drawing on iPads all the time. And I can merge the two. The drawing, I do the sketch on paper, and then I move it over to the iPad, and I create another piece of art. So I'm merging the technologies,
The
which is
sketchy
really cool.
sketch. The
The
sketch,
sketchy
sketchy
sketch.
sketch. Sketchy sketchers. Chipster, I hope you're doing all right, buddy. It's good to see you. Good to see you. Um, Ashman is gonna not be too vulgar tonight, so we should be safe, Chipster.
Yeah, yeah.
you
Filthy, filthy man.
vulgar
Heard
bastard.
I know, I know. I have let some F words and some S words and stuff out, but we're here. We're allowed.
Oh my God, this is after hours, man.
Yeah, we're allowed. But yeah, got my guitar.
Oh, dude, let's see. That is a Les Paul style with two volumes, two tones. Does it have splitters in the volumes?
No.
Right on. Looks like you got those humbuckers. Oh, I see one
Yeah.
humbucker
Yeah. The other humbucker's missing. I'm gonna get a Hades gate for the top
for the neck.
for the neck. Yeah.
Man, that's a pretty guitar, dude. What was wrong with it? And it's a
Yeah.
bolt-on neck.
Yeah. It's bolt on. It's the Korean guitar, so that means it was made well.
Is it an Epiphone?
Yeah, it's an Epi.
It's a Korean Epi. Right on. Right on.
Yeah.
Well,
And the thing that threw me was that it has the dots instead of the trapezoids, and I don't know. They labeled it a classic, but it is not a classic. There's no way this is a classic.
heard that.
They got confused with the C on the back, which stands for the Korean factory that it was made in.
Heard that.
So they just labeled it, but
That's a cool
it's pretty
guitar.
good. I tuned it up and got the action set, and it sounds great. So
Even with the one pickup.
even with the one pickup, it sounds good. So
Right
I'm just gonna
on.
put the Hades gate in there and go at it.
Dude, that's amazing, man. Are you gonna wow, IMDE 39.
Yeah, that's
Ashman from
cool, man.
Glendale.
Thanks.
That's dope right there. Check that
Thanks,
out.
dude. Yeah,
Damn.
you are an artist.
Yeah, I was about to say, yeah, you're an artist. Uh, so you found yourself. Ash is an artist. I'm an artist of sorts, and this is kind of like our after hours, or once a week when we're not doing flow states where we're working lives, or we also do a show over on another platform where we interview artists and musicians and content creators and stuff like that. So welcome in. Great to see you. Thanks
Yeah,
for
cool.
stopping through. Thanks for stopping through for sure. I build guitars and stuff, electric guitars at this point. And Ashman, um, Ash, I'll go grab my Les Paul,
Okay, cool.
and I'll show you the neck that I repaired on it if it'll show up.
Nice.
I got it brand new from Guitar Center, I think it was. But it was when they were selling, they got one that was shipped and it got broken during shipping.
Broken.
And
Nice.
but it's a neck through. It's not a bolt on. It's a neck through. Which means if I didn't get the neck fixed right, then I just wasted my dineros. But
Yeah.
yeah,
That's a chance.
IMDC. But at this point, I make guitars from scratch from lumber that I mill with a chainsaw and an Alaskan mill, like trees that go down in storms and stuff. I'll go mill them and then air dry them, and then I was making furniture, but now I'm making guitars with them. I'll be right back.
All right, man. And IMDC, we're actually on other platforms under the same names. The Gin Project, Ashman, and Glendale. It's the same names on all the different platforms. So if you go to the Clock app, we're over there on under the same names. Same with the one that is BIGO. We're over there too. But yeah, we do all kinds of shows. We do flow states on the BIGO, and we Gin has a show called the Gin Project where he interviews artists, and I have the Ashman's Basic Art Show where I do my artwork. So yeah, Chipster. Yeah, same everywhere, right? Chipster, you get your magazine yet? I'm hoping you get your magazine soon, dude. Hopefully you got it in. Do a little show and tell with guitars today.
The one behind me is the one that I made from scratch. But here,
Yeah.
you might like this one,
Oh,
Ash. I think you may have kind of seen it, but this one, like I said, was broken, and I didn't try to hide the break. You can still see it, but it is full on repaired. But that's what you can see of the break.
oh yeah.
It's not too bad. There was just a chunk missing. I was able to match all the rest back together pretty well. Um,
Oh, good.
but I did this a few years ago. But it's one of the special editions that has the purple faded paint on it. And you
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
purple's my favorite color.
yeah.
So, and
Is
it
it a matte
has,
finish or is it a gloss?
it's a matte. It's a
Yeah,
matte.
yeah.
It's a
I
matte.
thought so. That's
And,
nice.
and it also, the volumes are splitters. They pop up and you can do, you know,
Yeah, yeah,
it goes to more like a P90 sound. It goes more to like you know, a single coil sound.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I thought about getting a kit for this one and changing it up, but I don't know.
But that's it. It's set up just like yours too. It's got the switch and, you know, it's all in the.
Oh yeah,
I love
that's
this
pretty.
guitar, man. It
That is
plays great.
pretty.
I don't like it as much as the one I built. I'm not making this up. The one I
Oh
built
yeah,
does
yeah.
play better, man. For you know,
I
but
get it.
I didn't do the fretboard on this. I didn't do the fretwork and all that, so it doesn't feel as good, you know. But
Oh
it's
yeah.
it's a nice guitar. And then if you're still in here, here's the guitar. This is number one, made from scratch. This birch tree was in a friend of mine's yard who got me into building guitars. And
That's beautiful.
this is where that tree was damaged back in the 80s by a front end loader, and it went down in a storm a few years back, and I went and milled it. But this one we left the pencil marks and this tool marks. I shaped these by hand. I cut them out of wood that was milled with a chainsaw, and then I rendered them down flat enough to go on a bandsaw, but I do that by hand with the hand planes. And then the neck was made out of a maple tree that I milled the same way. And the logo is an actual brand made from the nails from the very first barn that I took down, and we welded them together. And that's the brand that I've been using on my furniture for 14 years.
And I got to say that was badass to watch you brand that thing. That was just freaking cool.
I love it, man. But so that's where we ended up. And all the art you see behind me, like SA Artistry's right here, Can Do Artist right here, and Kara Wilson art. Kara's doing a guitar. Can Do's doing a series of them. SA's doing a series of them. Eric the Airbrush artist is doing one, and there's multiple other people that are doing guitar collabs. So, pretty cool journey.
This little baby is
Yo, that
my favorite Les Paul right there. Is like that
that
is gorgeous.
that's
Look
sexy,
at
man.
that
Is that
quilt.
burgundy colored on the outside, like wine
It's
color?
tobacco. Yeah, yeah. It's like a wine color, I think.
Yeah, man, that's pretty.
But yeah, it's a tobacco.
Yeah,
What do you call it?
burst or whatever.
Hue. Yeah, burst. Yeah. But the quilting was what caught my eye. Look how well that's matched.
That's maple, huh?
Yeah, it was so well done. I walked into the store and I saw it
You said, "Oh
and
shit."
I was like, oh man, this isn't good. And then I went home and thought about it over the weekend, and then I went back. I just had to go back. It's my favorite, like little guy.
Hey, that's the first time I've ever heard you play a guitar.
I'm not that great.
Do you use a pick? Yeah, you do.
I love it. And I just got a little Fender Rumble. Little Fender Rumble, and then I've got a Vox, like small Vox amp. I'm very happy with those things, man. They're awesome.
Right on. Right
I
on.
love the knob color against the paint. Yeah, it's yeah, but yeah, that purple Les Paul is badass, dude.
It's fun.
That's a nice grab.
And the other one that I have, other Epiphone is their version of the 335, the hollow body,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
with the block in it, with the maple block, so it
yeah.
has a lot of sustain. But it also was a neck through. It's green. It's the dark like hunter green kind of color. army green
Yeah.
almost kind of color with a
Yeah.
black pick guard on it. But it had a busted neck too, a pretty badly busted neck, and I managed to get it back together and lined up and everything. And both of those guitars I did the neck work on, like I said, a few years ago at this point. And they stay in tune
Yeah.
and play. And instead of paying full price for a brand new one, I got a brand new one for a third
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
less, a
That's
little
how I
less than
always do
that.
it, guys. Like, I got to find something that needs a little work, and then I'll be happy.
Oh
You
yeah,
know, and that's like this guy though. The sustain on this thing is amazing. The sustain on that one's okay, but the sustain on the main one that I love playing is fantastic. I mean, I recorded just to listen to how long it can hold out, and I was like amazed.
that's this guitar, man. It is a
Yeah.
sustaining fool. It is, but it's heavy. I mean, it's heavy. It's 11-ish, 12-ish pounds somewhere in there.
Oh yeah.
It's heavy.
Yeah. No, that is a heavy baby right there.
And there's
What about
another
the sound?
back issue. Like that guitar, like when I first started learning how to play a guitar, I was standing up. I
Yeah.
had to learn how to sit on a stool, and it was like I had to learn almost, not again, but I kind of had to learn how to play sitting down, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And
Oh yeah.
the reason I don't have one on this one, but the reason that a lot of times if you see me just grab a guitar off the wall, it's got a strap on it, is because I have to, the back thing. I'll stand and play a couple, and then I'll sit down and set it on my leg and play.
Yep.
Because the heavier guitars, if I hang that strap on my neck, it immediately my left arm guard start. This is my left hand. I'm not married, or I am married,
Yeah.
and it starts going numb, which makes it hard to chord things. So literally, the strap hanging across my neck with a weighted guitar makes my left arm go numb. So I can only do like a song or two. Then I got to sit down and.
If my back is messed up, I go for my hollow body.
Yes, yeah, yeah,
That's
yes.
all there is to it.
Dude, I have the very first electric guitar that I bought for myself. My buddy Ed Kelly called me one day and he's like, "Hey, Gan, go look over on the Amazons. There's this company called IYV out of Vietnam that is making guitars, and they're really inexpensive, but I hear they're good." So I bought a semi-hollow body Telecaster IYV. I have it, and it is a fantastic guitar. Um,
Yeah.
so I got that guitar from a guy, and he stayed in touch with me. And about a year later, he calls me and he says, "Hey man, I just got a pallet of those green Les Pauls made by IYV. Would you like one?" He said, "I'll give it. I bought a pallet from them, full of them, and I'll sell it to you at cost. You just pay shipping." So I've got
Well,
a
you never
hundred.
know, right?
I've got $105 in that guitar. I paid $145 for the first one. They had it on sale that at Telecaster. It was 135 total,
Oh wow.
shipping and everything to the house. But
Jeez.
it
Hey,
was
severed.
Hey, Sever, but it is a fantastic guitar. I mean, I don't like it as much as this one now, but I play it a lot because it's much lighter. It's a semi-hollow body. It's a Telecaster
Yeah.
style, but it's semi-hollow body. And the other one that other green one is a hollow body guitar. It looks like a Les Paul style, but it is a hollow body guitar. So it's really light and it's fun to
Now
play.
I've had guitars that my parents bought me, and they were, what they could afford, and they were solid body, bolt on neck, and no names. But this is the first guitar I bought, which
Wow, dude. Mine is green. But that's got a
yeah,
Bixby on it. Well, that's not an Epiphone,
no,
is it?
no, no Bigsby.
What
I
is
wish it
that?
had a Bigsby.
What is that?
That's that's just a tail. It's an Ibanez.
Oh, it's an Ibanez. Okay, that's what got. Yeah, I'm about to say that ain't an Epiphone, but that's cool, man.
Yeah, I love the rockabilly sound. So when I saw this, I was like, "Oh hell yeah!" I went there for the blue one, the blue transparent one. I was like, "I'm totally getting that one." And then when I saw the red up against that, I went, "Nah, I'm gonna go with the red. It's badass looking." But yeah, no, it's a beautiful guitar. It has good resonance. It's beautiful. And of course, this was my first one, so I got it a special strap.
Fire!
The fire makes it play better.
Heard that. Heard that. Good to see you, Severed. Went and got the shots this morning. Got the nerve test done this afternoon. Made it here in time for the show this evening. So all that went all right.
Thanks, Evan. Yeah, no, it's pretty. It's pretty. That's a pretty guitar. I fell in love with that one today. I saw it. It's like I said, I saw the blue one. It was online, and I'm like, it's pretty. And then to see them both in person, and then you play it, and you're like, okay, that's the one right there.
Right.
There's something about the tactile feeling of them, and your heart wants what it wants rather than what your brain's like. This is what you like, and you go and pick
Yes.
it up.
Yes. Yes. And guitars are a good example of false starts too, right? The number of people that get one and then they start learning to play and realize it's going to take some effort, so they quit.
Yeah.
And then there's false starts on, and I don't know if these would be false starts, but some people, I've had people tell me, don't sell your guitars, like your personal guitars, because you'll regret, like, especially if you've got one that you really like and it plays well, don't sell that guitar because you always just regret selling it.
Yeah.
But other people have been like, nah, man, I'll upgrade. And once I'm able to, I'll sell that one, add some money to it, get a better one. And, and they were perfectly happy doing that too. But
I get too attached.
Well, I was going to say, man, the ones that I've done, I've kept. Like the very first, that Echo, that Italian hollow body Echo that I did, the 1969 model. That was the very first one that I restored just to see if I could get it doing something. And that's the one that when musicians stop by the shop, that's the one they want to play.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And it looks awful, man. You can see all the cracks and all the stuff on it, I didn't try to hide anything. I just tried to make it work well again.
It's the uniqueness, right? It's the uniqueness. If something sticks out to you, you want to see what it is.
That's the one they try to buy. Like the guys that play on, like, for a living, that play around here or tour around or whatever. They're like, oh man, that would look badass on stage, Yeah. I'm like, no, man, I can't sell you my guitar, homie. I'm sorry, man. We can build you one. I can't sell you my guitar though.
Yeah, no, there's pieces like that artwork that I can't get rid of because they're too personal. So it's like, no, that's for me,
And it's strange, man. In all of the years that I built furniture, I never built a piece that I was like, I got to keep this one. Like I love it and it's cool and all that. The pieces I have are the ones that didn't get finished, or that were, if I made a half a dozen of something, I kept one of them, and it's, in our living room with stuff stored in it. I made some like trunk type things out of some tongue and groove barnwood out of that first barn. I made one for my mom, and we got one upstairs, but for the most part, like because a lot of what I was doing with that was custom stuff. So about half of what I was doing is somebody'd come to me with an idea, and if I take the commission, then I'm building out that idea. Yeah. So obviously I wouldn't end up with those pieces. And then like the funeral flag boxes and all that type of thing also isn't something you're ever going to end up with anyway, or birthday presents or wedding presents or those wedding benches and stuff that I did. All of that stuff you would never keep. But the very first guitar that I built, I'll never sell it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Isn't that weird? Like, I made furniture for all those years, and even the first pieces that I made, which might be worth a little something at this point, I don't like it. I just didn't. I love them, and I did them, but it was from a different place in my brain. When I built that guitar, and the materials came from my friend's house, and I milled that shit, and he was the one that got me started building them. Stop for sale.
Yeah.
Like how
Severed
much? You don't got enough. It ain't for sale.
Severed says, I have my goddesses. I have them listed for 12K a piece because I don't want to sell them. So I'm taking them off the buy.
What happens when somebody comes and cut? You better hope I don't ever get 12 extra $1,000. I'll be calling
Oh,
Sefford.
man.
Hey, you know those pieces you got?
Time to ship them.
Ship it. She'd be in a quandary then. But that was interesting to me, though, man. And the ones that I repaired. The first one, you know, that Echo, the one that I showed you, the purple one, the green one. Those were Epiphones, and those were repair jobs. The yellow one, the Strat that you've seen me, that was a nice guitar. It just sat in the closet since the '90s.
Yeah.
And I have a Japanese made. It's a classical guitar, and it's made. It's pretty cool, man. It was made. Um, I don't know how to pronounce it. It's a Japanese city, but um, in the '70s, there was a factory making these guitars that had master craftsmen at the factories, and they were making like guitars for schools and stuff like that. Well,
Whoa.
Nippon Gang or something. I forget how to say it,
Okay.
but at this factory, they knew that the following year or whatever that they were transitioning, and the guitars were going to start being made in China and somewhere in Indonesia, I think. Um, so every once in a while, the master craftsmen that were working there, the regular guitars that were going to the schools had like say a cedar front or a spruce or whatever, and then kind of like a normal what you would expect mahogany backs and sides or whatever. But every once in
Yeah.
a while, these craftsmen would just go get zebra wood and this special cedar that they have there for the soundboard, and they would just make one and they'd put it out with all the rest of them.
Oh, wow.
Send it out to the schools just in the batch. If the school ordered a batch of 100, there might be one or two in here that are these special ones. And so there were two layers. There was one that was like the medium materials, and then there was one that every once in a while they'd make like the top of the line stuff. And I got one of the medium ones by mistake. Like someone was selling it. It had a small little separation on it, and they were selling it as one of those student level guitars. And I got
Yeah.
it, and then when I got it, I looked it up, and it was actually one of those mid-level ones, and it sounds absolutely incredible. I don't play classic guitar much. The spacing on it, and it's an acoustic, but I'll never
Yeah.
sell that guitar just because it's so cool, man.
Oh, yeah.
It sounds amazing, and the story behind it is great. So it's just like it'll be one of those that. Now, if I would have paid what it was worth, I wouldn't have it. And I didn't know it.
Yeah.
At the time, I knew that it was one of those more special models. I knew it wasn't the student, original one. But when I figured out what it actually was, I was like, "Oh man, this is cool."
Oh, yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so that's also that isn't necessarily a false start, but those guys knew that their jobs were being shipped overseas. So every once in a while, they just wanted to build something cool.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
that's
No, that's
that's what I got
amazing.
from it.
Severed says, like an application process for adopting them would have to.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like I don't know. I guess something happens to me. My wife decides where that guitar goes or whatever. It'll be her issue. But and all these damn in this shop full of tools.
I always think that. I always think that if there's a state sale after I go, and somebody's going to be like, "This guy was into everything." This, this guy was into everything. He's got everything you can imagine for hobbies. And it's like, oh man, where do you start? Where do you start?
Yeah,
Because yeah, I have all kinds of woodworking equipment. I have art equipment. I have wood burning equipment. I have sewing equipment. I have I have a mass amount of stuff. So it's ridiculous. Oh, and not to mention the musical equipment. I mean,
Right.
I have all kinds of stuff that you wouldn't find anywhere. So it's like I don't know. I got all kinds of weird shit. Like I
Well,
said, this is you don't you don't see that everywhere.
no, that's for doing like comedy sketches, isn't it? And sound effects and
Yeah,
stuff.
pretty much. Pretty much. You
Well,
hear it in music once in a while.
I have like all the power tools you might need in a woodworking shop for the most part, and then match those with the hand tools. You can do the same thing with hand tools, and some of those are like two or three different tools would be required to do the job of one modern tool, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah.
And then so then I also started milling my own lumber with a chainsaw, which meant I have a milling saw, the mill to go on the saw. I make my own chain. I buy a chain by the reel, and then so I have a chain breaker, and then a re-riveter for the chain, and the little things to put chains back together with, and a chain sharpener, and all the stuff that goes with, and then all of the tools and special tools and shit you need to work on chainsaws.
Yeah, I forgot I have specialty tools to work on cars. So
Well,
yeah, my shed's full of that crap too. It's
and,
like Jesus Christ.
yes, and
Yeah.
my first car I built, and a couple other the trucks that I drove, I built from scratch, like from literally junkyard pieces and stuff.
Yeah.
And my grandfather worked on cars, so I have like his timing lights and valve setting equipment and all that stuff here. So yeah, all the stuff to work on old school cars, not
Yeah.
modern stuff, but old like
Yeah.
muscle
Yeah.
cars and shit.
Yeah.
Where they have points and you got to set the timing by a timing light and all that kind of stuff.
Yep.
Um,
Yep.
and then like there were times that I would be working on a particular project, and for that project, it would be obvious that it would be a lot easier, a lot more efficient, or whatever with a particular kind of tool. So
Yeah.
I might tell Rick, hey, over the years, it was like, hey, Rick, I just got a commission. I'm going to be building X, Y, and Z. I'm really going to need a panel plane. So while you're
Yeah.
out picking, see if you can find a panel plane. And he'd eventually come back with one, for making like the panels in a cabinet or something, which I didn't do cabinetry. So I would have to get the tool to be able to do the door that I needed to do.
Yeah.
So I ended up with odds and ends stuff like that. And then if you're in a woodworking shop, you need all different kinds of clamps.
Oh yeah.
So
Oh yeah.
there are C clamps, there are slide clamps, pull clamps, vice clamps,
Yep.
all kinds of, I don't even know the name of clamps. So
Yeah.
it's just never ending. Oh,
Oh god,
and that doesn't
those
count.
clamps with the straps to them so you could get corners.
Yes, those,
Yeah.
and
I
then
have
that
those.
doesn't count all the socket sets, the common, the metric, the screwdriver sets,
Yep.
the wrench sets, the
Yep.
all of that stuff. Oh, and that doesn't include like the soldering stuff or the electronic stuff. The micrometers to read stuff with.
I
Um,
have that. Yeah.
Dude, it goes on and on and
Yeah.
on. And I mean, it's 14 years of reinvesting, getting tool, make something, reinvest that in new tools, and
Yeah. Well, you do the same thing I do. I go to yard sales and garage sales, antique stores, and I go, oh wow, that's a tool I don't have, and I just pick it up, and because I'll use it. I'll use it at
eventually,
some point.
yeah,
Yeah.
you got first dibs. Heard that, Severed. Well, hopefully we both live at a ripe old age, but we'll carve out a couple things for you over here, Severed.
Oh yeah, man. And that's not to include all the old school freaking audio equipment I have. I have like at least four receivers from the 70s. I have two consoles
Hey,
in storage.
do
I
you
have
repair that
speakers
stuff?
for. What's that?
Do you know how to repair that stuff?
I was looking into it. That's a false start right there. I was looking into it and haven't gone for it, but there's a couple that I was going to work on to see if I could do it.
I've still got my dad's Techniques amp,
Oh,
and
nice.
and there's it's not Techniques, but it's a nice record player, and there was an 8-track that went with it. There's a cassette player later that went with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It would be cool to get some of that stuff running again.
Yeah, I get like record players going again, and clean them and polish them and that sort of thing. But I haven't gotten to recapping and doing all that. But if you're doing
Yes, sir.
guitar work, you're just a step away from recapping receivers and stuff.
Right
So
on. Right
you
on.
just have to get the right kit from like eBay,
Put
and
capacitors in it and shit.
they'll send you the whole kit for that receiver
Right
or
on.
that amp or something,
Oh,
and
right on.
it'll have a schematic, and like if you're soldering on,
Oh yeah, I could
these,
do it. I could
yeah,
figure it out.
oh yeah,
Right on. Right on. In my spare, moments.
8 tracks of the bomb.
Yeah, you know what's also the bomb is reel to reels. I'd love to have a reel to reel. Back.
My back doesn't want a reel to reel. Those things weigh a ton.
Oh, are they? I had
Oh, they are heavy.
one of my sergeants, Archie Aples out of New Orleans. Archie had a reel to reel, and this is back like cassette tape time. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? This is kind of I think it's pre CD. CDs might have not even been out yet, but it would hold 6 hours of music. So we'd leave the shop on Friday night, go by his apartment, and he could just he had a bunch of different reels that he had made. Like one of his hobbies was he would make reels. And he just put on a reel, man, and it would be the dopest. Oh man, it would be like you never have to put on it. Back then, when the tape was over, you'd have to flip the tape over unless you had a really fancy tape deck that would do it for you. Or
yeah,
the record would stop and you would have to put another record on or whatever. So we could go in and put a reel to reel on, just push play, and
oh yeah.
never have to worry about it again. And it
And
sounded
the
good at the
sound quality,
time. I was gonna
it was
say
really good.
through the setups back then, it sounded really good.
Yeah,
Even though it was on an actual tape, it sounded great.
yeah. Reel to reel is really good, man. Compared to like a cassette tape, it's night and day.
Yeah.
But
Oh yeah.
yeah, those Teak or Tech or whatever they
Heck.
are, or Akai,
Yeah.
those are really good. So, but yeah, I picked up a couple and went, nah, I'm okay. I think I got heavy enough equipment. I got 40-pound receivers. I'm good. I don't I don't want to lug those things around too much more anymore. And some of them I'm going to get rid of because I don't have the space for them and stuff. So,
Right.
and I've got Pioneers, I've got Techniques, I've got all kinds of crap, and it's just like I don't have enough room for them, so they got to go.
Right. Right. Ha! Well, uh, that's another thing, man. I'm a guy that kind of hangs on to stuff. Or like you said, I'll go somewhere and see something cool like that. If I'm able to, I get it and stash it.
I got a problem.
Yeah. Yeah.
I got a closet full of audio equipment. I got a problem.
Man, are you going to be doing any lives tonight or anything?
I don't think so. I think I'm good for the night. I think I'm gonna take a break.
I looked and I'm at 29.8 on that other platform hours. So our next live will get us.
It'll
You're
be
already there probably, but our next live will get us up in the range. And it looks
yeah,
like to me. So we got Monday, or we got Friday, which will get us there, and then we
yeah,
got Monday. And if we wanted to, we could sneak in like we did the last time, like a little Sunday something to get that extra couple hours in. But if we did that Sunday and if we did that Monday, that would be 6 additional hours on top of the ones we were required to get. I don't know. See how, because my beans are down here on
yeah,
that graph that he sent us.
Yeah.
The beans are way down here on the bottom rung, but the hours we're climbing up that list on the left, and I don't know where that's going to put us. Some of those, if you put them together, that's a decent little something that could be worth your time. If you notice,
Yeah. I didn't really look at the graph. I'm terrible. My, you know how you talked about your statistics class and your eyes glaze over?
it
I
goes
look
from
at
like
graphs and I go,
it goes from like 100 to 651 or something like that.
whoa.
Yeah,
For,
to get over that first threshold.
hmm.
If you get them all, like there's a few 32s on it, and then it goes up to whatever, and then on the other side is the beans, right? So I don't know how that's going to work out if you're way down here on the bean part and you're up here on the hour part, but I do know that in like the second or third 32 rung, it gets up there to multiple, you know.
Okay. Yeah, because I only have like 6,000 beans or something like that.
You've
So,
got like 3 times what I got.
really? That's surprising. Everybody comes in there, talks about your guitars and stuff.
They talk about your art, dude. Your art is what's popular over there.
I doubt that.
I'm just riding your
I don't know.
coattails over there. I'm hanging
You
on to
know,
the
I
Ashman.
don't get as many teddy bears as you get.
We do get a lot of high handsomes. Surely they're not seeing what I'm seeing.
Well, considering they're looking at my hand, I don't think they're talking to me.
You have a point. So they're obviously
My hand's
disturbed
really
people.
sexy.
They're obviously disturbed.
You're disturbed. Those people are wrong. Oh man. But you're right. I mean, I don't know about the hours and all that and how that works. So I know we're going to hit our time, but I don't know
Yeah, I'm
what
curious.
that matters.
I'm curious to see. The way Ezra was talking about it was it's a combination between the hours and the beans, and there's some formula that it gets plugged into, and you end up on a tier. But what he said was just getting the hours in gets you on a tier, and then from
Okay.
there it's which tier you end up on. But from what I looked at, now I wear glasses and I get confused sometimes, but from what I looked at, down in that 32-hour range, the beginning was like $100.
Oh,
But
okay.
if you get up to that next one up, it's like three something, and then the next one up for that is like 650, and then it keeps climbing from there. So if somehow, and we'll probably end up in the $100 range, which is whatever.
Yeah, probably.
But if we ended up in the other range, if you get up in the six something range, add that to what you're already making, building the products.
Yeah,
That's something. That
that's pretty good. Yeah.
once a month, an extra six something.
Yeah, that's pretty good. That's my HOA bill, and that's my part of my electric. So yeah,
That
yeah.
that would get yeah. I mean that would take care of lots of pickups for guitars. I was saying what I was
Yeah.
well what I was saying. My hope was like it would be worth putting the time in. Is if one of the guitars a month that I was building, it would pick up the tab for some of the stuff that goes in that guitar.
Oh yeah.
And then when you sell the guitar, it wasn't all out of pocket. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so for me,
Absolutely.
that might be cool. We'll see, we'll see. But I kind of think it's cool we gave it a run, and I'm trying to come up with stuff I can do in Vegas to still get some hours in, and that the fact that I'm gonna be even an hour earlier than you will
Yeah.
help too.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna fly all the way over you, man, and be on the other time zone on the other side of you.
That's crazy. What are you doing, kitty?
I'll throw out some stuff for you when we go by some Skin Project stickers and T-shirts and shit.
All right, man.
Hopefully they'll land on your house.
I'll just watch for him. I'll be out there with my binoculars, just hanging outside.
Well, bro, I absolutely love doing this with you, man. But I am
Oh yeah,
exhausted, and I don't
I
want to
get it.
sit here in this chair too long because that'll
I
cause me
get it.
problems.
I get
Um,
it.
so if it's cool with you, man, I'm gonna go. And the wife came home with sushi. I'm gonna go eat some of that too.
That sounds good, dude. All right, man. I'll
Uh,
see you tomorrow.
is there anything you wanted to go over or anything before we? Because we
Hey,
got it. I'm recording, so you could, this could be commercial material for you or whatever.
oh, I'm good. I think we go over it so much. Everybody knows who we are.
You can find him on Genteel Poverty, which is a podcast on all available platforms. Genteel Poverty, him and his wife do a very interesting podcast. You can also catch Ashman on Wednesdays over on the Talkers. And over there, he does the Ashman's Basic Art Show that comes on 4 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, 6 o'clock Eastern Time. And he gives you about an hour, maybe two, if you're lucky, of some original artwork and maybe some dad jokes.
Oh yeah, dad jokes abundant.
Thanks, everybody, for coming through. Thank you,
Yeah,
Severed.
thanks, Everett.
Thanks, everybody. If you're still in here, Chipster, much love, brother. Appreciate you, man.
Thanks, Everett.
Ashman, appreciate you, dude.
You rock, man.
You rock, sir.
All right, go get
See
some
ya.
sushi and have a good night, man.
I'm gonna get some sleep. Later,
Yeah,
bro.
yeah. Later.